Good morning, Junior 3. Hope you're making good use of your time. Our first session together today is going to be a grammar lesson. We've taken a hint about this lesson in the student book before. The name of the lesson is Count and Non-Count Nouns. Or in other words, I can say uncountable nouns, which mean non-count nouns, and countable nouns or count nouns. Okay, so what are the countable nouns? The countable nouns are the nouns that I can count. So this means I have a singular form and a plural form. So let's read this. The countable nouns or count nouns are something you can count. So when I use a verb with this nouns, the verb has to have either a singular form or a plural form. According to what? According to the noun. So we use a singular or plural verb with countable nouns. Let's see an example from our lesson in the book. Wind turbines are used to make electricity. Why did I use are? Because I have S in the noun before it. Wind turbine is used to make energy. Why did I use is? Because this is a singular noun. Okay, let's see some examples for countable nouns. Carrot, of course, can be carrots. Banana, bananas. Pea, peas. Bus, buses. Orange, oranges. Egg, eggs. Potato, potatoes. Country, countries. Grape, grapes. Apple, apples. Okay, so if I want to ask a question about the quantity with these nouns, what question word shall I use? How many? Why? Because I can count them. Let's see the other part of the lesson, which is uncountable nouns or non-count nouns. And as we know that none means not. What are these nouns? They are something you cannot count. And we're going to use only the singular form. Use singular verbs with something you can't count. Let's see the examples here. Electricity is necessary to all of us. Of course, electricity doesn't have a plural form, so I must use a singular form of the verb. Oil is an important fossil fuel that is needed for cars. I use is with oil. Let's see some examples for uncountable or non-count nouns. Ink, chicken, gold, of course we cannot count these things, jam, cereal or cornflakes, juice, fish, rain, milk, meat, spaghetti or pasta. And when I ask a question with these words, I want to ask about the quantity or the question word suitable for these words, I use how much. We have a small exercise here to practice. We're going to use how much or how many. The first thing I have to look at when I do an exercise like this, I have to look at the noun, whether it's plural or singular. Then I see if it's countable or uncountable. Stars are there in the sky. Well, stars has a plural form and it's a countable noun, so we will use how many stars are there in the sky. Water. Of course, water is an uncountable noun. Which question word shall I use? How much? And if you can see here, I use the singular form of the verb. How much water is in the ocean? Countries. Of course, it's a countable noun. We will use how many countries are there in the world? Players. Of course, it's a countable noun. We can count the players in your team. So we will use how many players are there in a handball team. Sister, does Ella have the same sisters? Of course, it's a countable noun. We will use how many. Milk, it's an uncountable noun. You will use how much. Of course, these sheets are in your grammar booklet. You can refer to it. And you have two small exercises. I want you to answer it. Thank you very much. Good morning again, Junior 3. The second part of our lesson today is the vocab list. We've already introduced it through a reading text in your student book and workbook. You can refer to it for further help. The first word with us is windmill. What's a windmill? A windmill is used to use the energy of the wind, or to use the wind as an energy to grind the seeds. They used to use it long time ago. Sailboat, of course, you can see it from the visual. This is a sailboat. It has sails to help it to move through the wind also. Pollution. Wind turbine. Wind turbine also is a source of energy for producing electricity. And if I have many of wind turbines, they are called wind farm. Coal, electricity, natural gas, oil, power plant. Power plant is mainly a place where we take oil, coal in order to produce energy, or fossil fuels we use it in power plant in order to produce energy. Fossil fuels, what are fossil fuels? It's a source of energy that comes from the ground, like coal, like natural gas, like oil. Source. We have two sources of energy. Renewable source of energy, which is renewable by itself, like the sun, like the wind. And the other source of energy is non-renewable. Of course, as you can see from the visual, like the oil, like the coal, everything that comes from the ground. This is an exercise. You'll find it on your booklet, page 40. Choose and complete. Pollution, windmill, oil, coal, wind turbine, power plant, wind farm, sailing boat, natural gas, and electricity. The first question. The windmill has long, flat parts that turns in the wind. You can see it in the visual. We ride a sailboat with 2 sails. The wind turbine gives energy by the pressure of the air. A wind farm is a group of wind turbines. My grandfather has a stove that works by coal. The oil of the car needs to be changed. We suffer from pollution in our country. They bought an old house with no electricity or running water. Coal changed into electricity in a power plant. This car runs on natural gas. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you very much.